system náà. Ìnétọ̀ ló tẹ̀ àbí ń ṣiṣẹ́ wọn yàtọ̀ ṣiṣẹ́ ló.
Láìkí ọ̀rẹ́ clinic lọ tún generator yẹn ṣe. Ó generator yẹn.
Ẹ̀wọ̀n so máa send link yẹn sí yẹn àbí.
Bí wọn náà ní nọ́mbà àkọ́kọ́ ṣe. Olóòtú ní nọ́mbà
Iṣẹ́ o.
ọmọ class general class.
Okay. Mo send ẹ̀ sẹ́yìn. Ẹ̀gbọ́n kí n tẹ sẹ́yìn sí mi yìí, ẹ ṣí látọ̀dọ̀ yìí dẹ̀, ẹ bá ti sẹ́yìn sí mi sí mi mọ́, ẹ ṣí látọ̀dọ̀ yìí. Ẹ̀gbọ́n wà lọ́wọ́ yín, ẹ má ti stop. Iṣẹ́ pọ̀ lọ́wọ́ mi.
Àwọn people my people are stranded.
Alẹ́ àná ni ìgbà tẹ́ pè mí, wọ́n ní exam ní kíní ó tẹ àwọn tí institute ní, wọ́n ní receipt kíní kan, wọ́n mọ̀ pé nǹkan ọmọ bísí ìjà wọn ra fi mílẹ̀ o, àwọn iṣẹ́ ọ̀fẹ́ yẹn ni o. Àyíká yẹ mi lọ́ba yìí. Ẹ̀ máa sọ̀rọ̀. Students, welcome to class today. Last week, we examined the concepts of the internet and the various internet and WW terminologies. Today, we'll be looking at a new topic titled Information Processing and its Role in Society. Information processing and its role in society. And also we'll look at the areas of computer discipline and specialization. So basically, as we all know that when we talk about information has to do with processed data. Why data are raw facts that require, processing. As you can see, to carry out processing basic information, the first thing that has to be done is that data must be collected. After data has been collected, then we'll talk about the processing. Data must be processed. After processing data, then we'll talk about the storage again. It must be stored in a particular location. Then from that, you can have it in form of output. So you can have it, information to be produced at the end of the day, which is output from the computer system. And this output could either be in soft copy or hard copy. Then we also talk about the communication. So that shows that such information, after it's been produced, can be shared or distributed across various platforms. Then we'll also look at the various areas of computer discipline and specialization. We have areas like system analyst, we have the computer programmer, software engineer, mobile application developer, we have the web developer, we also have a database administrator, data entry operator, network administrator, and so on and so forth. So quickly this morning, we're going to look at the meaning of data. Our topic of information processing, before we talk about information, we have to talk about data to understand the first aspect, which is what data. Because we process data is a processed data that is referred to as what? Information. What are data? Data are raw facts, figures, and symbols that have not been processed. Now, when we talk about facts, figures, symbols, so this include numbers, names, images, measurements, records. So what are these examples of data? We're talking about numbers like 75, 20, 50, 80, 90, 65, 100. These are numeric data. We're talking about numbers, numeric data. When we talk about names like John, Israel, Gabriel, Miracle, Mirabel, and so on and so forth. These are various names. So we call them data. What type of data? Alphabetic data. Then we also have currencies like 50,000 naira. We have 75,000, 120,000. We call it what? Data. And also we have a gender, like male, female. So we refer to it as what? Data. We talk about date, day, month, year. We call it what? Data. Now, when you have all this data, you put all this data together, it will form what we call information. Let me use this illustration. In English class, we have what we call a sentence, and we also have what we call a word or a phrase. When we talk about a word is not meaningful to the listener. But when we talk about a sentence is meaningful because it has a complete structure. You have the subject, you have the verb, you have the adjective or adverb, and so on and so forth. So a sentence is a complete structure. Similarly, information is a complete structure. Information is a complete structure because information is referred to as processed data. But data are raw facts that have not been processed. So it's incomplete. It's incomplete and usually is not meaningful to the receiver. When you send somebody data, you'll be wondering, Tunde, it doesn't make any sense. Tunde is a good friend of mine. Is the sentence, so it's complete. Tunde is a good friend of mine. Joy is a good friend of mine. The sentence is complete. So that is information. But when you have Joy, Tunde, Gabriel, Mirabel, and so on and so forth. These are data. They are referred to as what? Data. So data alone may not convey meaningful understanding until it is what? It is processed and organized. So data are the building blocks of information. That is just it. Data are the building blocks of what? Information. Because when you have two or more processed data, we refer to it as what? Information. So data are the building blocks of information. Quickly, because of our time, let's look at the meaning of information. So information is referred to as processed and meaningful data used for decision making. Used for decision making. Now, when we talk about information, it's obtained after data has been processed. Data must have been processed, organized, and interpreted. That is when you have what we call information. When data has been processed, when it has been organized and interpreted, we talk about what? Information. It has meaning and it can be understood. It is useful for use the information for decision making, information for planning. We use information for what? Analysis and also for what? Communication purposes. Information helps individuals and organizations to make what? To make informed decisions. Let me give you an instance. If you have the result of 100 level students, the result of 200 level students, 300 level students, and so on and so forth, the management can use this to make informed decision. But if you have the result of, maybe, for instance, Joy, Tunde, Gabriel, Israel, and so on and so forth, is incomplete. But when you have a comprehensive result, showing the performance of students in one course or the other. So we call it information. Because if you look at the result, you will see the name of the student, you will see the matric number of the student, you will see the scores of the student in each of the courses that has been taken. So that will enable the management or the Senate or the exam body to make an informed decision. So that's what we call information. Examples of information, we talk about the average scores of students. Average score of student is information because when you put the scores together, the scores of students, take for instance, in introduction to computing, COS 101, maybe you look at the scores of students in a particular department, you add up the score to determine the average performance. So you can use their average performance, the average score to determine, to make decision. Oh, 95% perform very well. Oh, 100 students passed computer. So that is information. So before you arrive at that, you must have processed the data. And what are the data we're talking about? The scores of students. You process score of each of those students to determine the average score of the student. So the average score of the student is referred to as what? Information. It's referred to as what? Information. Another example is a patient diagnosed with malaria. Patient diagnosed, after the patient must have, what's it called? You go for the test, the result will enable the doctor to make decision. Oh, you have malaria. So that makes sense to the doctor. It is information. But before that, what the patient will have to go to the lab for tests and all of that. So after that, the lab scientists will give the result to the patient. The patient will take it to the doctor. So the doctor will be able to recommend or to prescribe medications to such patients. So we're talking about information. Information, an example is patient diagnosed with malaria you call it information because it has already been put, that's gone through a particular stage. Similarly, total number of registered students. Total number of registered students. let's say 2,500. It is information showing that, for instance, maybe in a physiotherapy department, we have about 500 students, radiography, about 20 students. At the end of the day, assuming the total is 2,005. So it will enable the management to make decision. Oh, we need to make arrangement for 2,500 capacity or so. That is what we call information, because they must have added the numbers of students, the total number of students based on their department, 500 plus 200 plus 700, and so on and so forth. And at the end of the day, they arrive at what, 2,500. So they need to plan ahead. What are these things they need, to make sure that these 2,005 students, they have various equipment, various resources that they will need, and so on and so forth. So information helps individuals and organizations to make informed decisions. And information turns data into knowledge, and it drives what? Action. Information turns data into knowledge and drives action. The next slide talks about the differences between data and information. Like I said earlier, data are raw facts and figures that require processing, while information has to do processed data. And usually when you talk about data are not organized. You can have a numeric data, you can have alphanumeric data, you can have already all put together, not organized. But when we talk about information, it has to be organized. That's why when I was explaining the difference between data and information earlier, I used the example of a word and a sentence. A sentence, it has a complete structure, because if you look at a sentence, you have your subject, you have your verb, you have your adjective or adverb, and so on and so forth. But when we talk about a word could just be a noun. It could just be a pronoun. It could be an adverb. It could be an adjective. So it, not organized. That's what we talk about data, word. So data is synonymous to a word or a phrase. Why a sentence is synonymous to information, because it is what? Meaningful. And also data have little meaning, and in some cases, no meaning. While information has to what? They are useful for what? Decision making. That shows that information is meaningful. Data is not meaningful. Information is what? Is meaningful. And also, data serve as input into a computer. System. Why information serves as what? Output from a system. Like I said earlier, the scores of students, it has to be entered into the computer system. Israel, maybe in computer, for instance, 65/70, you key in the score into the computer. So when you add up the score, the CA score, the exam score together, after it has been processed, the output, the result is called information. That is the output from the system. And I told you that when we talk about the output could be in two forms: hard copy or soft copy. And when you talk about the soft copy, that is the information that you can view or see on the screen. But when you talk about the hard copy, that is the information produced from the computer system through the printer, and so on and so forth. So quickly, let's look at the examples to make comparison between data and information. When you talk about data, example here are so, yeah, good to know. Yes, examples include 50, 60, 70. These are numeric numbers. And for information, example include average score is 60. And average score is 60. So it is meaningful. So basically, data is a resource, while information is the product. Data is a resource, while information is the product. So data by itself is useless, while information drives success. So quickly, let's look at the next slide. It talks about the meaning of information processing. Now, like I said, when we talk about processing of information, it refers to the collection of information, manipulation, the storage, the distribution of data in order to produce meaningful information. Now, what are the things involved? The first stage is that data must be collected. Collecting data is gathering of what? Raw facts from various sources. Now, the second stage is manipulating data. When we talk about manipulating of data, we are talking about sorting or arranging data in a predefined order. We talk about the calculating, we talk about the classifying, and also the analyzing aspects of it. So the next stage is a storage, which is the storing data. You save your data and information for future use. And that is followed by producing data. That is converting data into useful and meaningful information. The last but not the least is distributing information. After you have produced information, which is the output from the system, you have to send it to the appropriate authority so that they can make their informed decision. That is distribution. Sharing information with users through various channels. You can share it through your mail, you can share it through your social media platform, you can share it through a medium so that the people in charge can, the authority or the management can make a decision based on the information that has been produced. So information processing, it transforms raw data into valuable information that supports decision making, problem solving, and growth. So what are the key points here? It is a systematic process that transforms raw data into what? Useful information. We're talking about information process. It transforms raw data into useful information. It helps individuals and organizations to make informed decisions. Another thing is that computers perform information processing quickly, accurately, and efficiently. It performs it quickly, accurately. So these are the attributes of a computer. These are the attributes of a computer. A computer works very fast. That's the quickly. It produces accurate results. That's accurately and efficiently. You can use it as many times as possible. It doesn't get tired like human. So it is essential in all sectors, such as education, healthcare, business, banking, government, and so on. So they use computers to process data for the purpose of what? Information processing. So it is applicable in education, it's applicable in healthcare, in business, in banking, and so on. So the next slide talks about the information processing cycle. Information processing cycle. So which has to do with the steps involved in converting data into information. So let's look at the cycle. The first step or the first stage, it is called data collection. The first stage is called data collection. The second stage is called data input. The third stage is called processing. The fourth stage is called storage. The fifth stage is called output. And the sixth stage is called communication. Now, the first one, which is data collection, it has to do with the gathering raw data from various sources. When you gather various data that you need to process, you put them together. That is what we call data collection. The second stage, which is called data input, it has to do with entering data into the computer system using input devices. What are the various examples of input devices? We talk about the mouse, we talk about the keyboard, and usually to enter numeric data into the computer system or alphabetic data, we use the keyboard to do that because the keyboard consists of various keys like the numeric keys, the alphabetic keys, the control keys, the alphanumeric keys, and so on and so forth. The next stage is processing. We're talking about information processing cycle, and it has to do with the steps involved in converting data into information. I said the first stage is data collection. The second stage is data input, and data input has to do with the entering data into the computer. I said the third stage is the processing, which is a vital aspect of information processing cycle. Processing simply means the computer processes data through calculation. It carries out the calculations, the sorting aspect, the classification aspect, and also the analysis aspect of it. So that's the processing stage. After data has been collected, you have what we call processing. You've collected the data, you've entered the data, then process the data. So after processing, we have what we call storage. Storage has to do with processed data and information. They are stored for future use, not just for immediate use, for future use. Because you may need the data maybe in 2 weeks' time, in 1 month's time, in 2 years' time, even in 10 years' time to make decisions. Like usually the World Health Organization, they often collect data and over time. So maybe from 2015 to 2024, that is 10 years, all the data that have been gathered, so they use it they process it and analyze it to make decision, to make their projection in some cases. So that's what we're talking about. You store it because, for instance, 2015, all the data that had been collected, stored. 2016, you store it. 2017, you store it. 2018, you store it. 2019 to 2024. Then you pull all of this data together. Then you make your decision. So that's why storage is very essential. It's very essential. Usually it's being carried out for immediate and future use. For immediate and future use. That's why it has to be stored. The process information must be stored for immediate and future use. No, sir. Sir, it's correct also. What was the comment? And it's for what you actually is very. Any So after storage, we have output. So the output is the process information is presented to users through the output devices. And what are the various examples of output devices? We talk about the printer, we talk about the VDU, the visual display unit, or the screen or monitor. So these are the common outputs. We also have other outputs like projector. Projector is an output device. We have plotter, and so on and so forth. So after it has been processed, stored, it has to be presented in a manner that the user will be able to, to view the results at the end of the day. So that is the output aspect of it, which is the fifth stage. The first stage again is data collection. The second stage is data input. The third stage is processing, followed by storage. The fifth stage is output. And the last but not the least is communication. And when we talk about communication, that is information that has been processed already is shared and distributed to user through network and various channels. That's what that's all about. So we'll talk about the information processing cycle. It is a continuous process. It's usually a continuous process. You keep carrying out the process from time to time. You collect your data, you input, you process, you store, you give out the output, and you also share. So the output may become input for further processing. Like I said earlier, the output maybe from the study carried out in 2015, for instance, it could serve as input for another study in 2016. And the output from 2016 could serve as input for another study in 2017. Output from 2017 could serve as input for a study in 2018, and so on and so forth. So that shows that output may become input for further processing. So accurate data, effective processing is regarded to as what? Useful information. When you have your accurate data and you process your data accordingly, it will produce what we call useful information. So the next slide talks about the methods of information processing. So we have different methods that are used depending on the nature of the task and the need for speed. We have what we call the batch processing. We have the batch processing. We have the online processing. We have the real-time processing. We have the distributed processing. Distributed processing. Now let's quickly look at the first one. We're talking about the methods of information processing, batch processing. In this case, data are collected over a period and processed together at once. Let me give you an example. Examples such as examination result processing. Examination result processing. You put the data together, the result of all the students, and process it at once. That's batch. You process, for instance, the result for 2024-2025 academic session processed at once. For 2025 and 2026 processed at once, and so on and so forth. So we apply or we adopt what we call batch processing to carrying out such. Another thing is bank statement generation. Bank statement generation. Usually to generate your statement of account, you will be asked a question. State the period from what period to what period. So that's to show you that it will be generated according to what we call batch, based on the date that you enter to be generated, maybe from December 2025 to date. So that is a batch processing. It's batch processing. So to generate your bank statement, the process that takes place is called batch processing. And what are the advantages of this batch processing? One of it is that it is cost effective. It is not difficult to set up. It is not expensive. So you can easily get the various software to carry out such. And also it is efficient for large volume of data. You can use it for large volume of data. We talk about batch processing. What are the disadvantages? Delayed output, because sometimes it may take several minutes before the output will be produced, because it has to process it bit by bit.
Let me call out first.
It?
Let me call out. No, it's not important.
Okay. So the second one is called online processing. Now we talk about online processing. Data are processed directly as it enters into the system. Immediately it enters, it's being processed. Immediately it enters, it's being processed. What are the examples of this? We talk about it, online shopping. For instance, you order for an item online. Immediately you enter you select the item, you select the quantity that you want. It should be processed instantly. Online processing. It processes data immediately, directly, without waiting for maybe a certain number of people to register before processing. No, it's immediately. Similarly, online registration. If you are paying your school fees, it is instant payment, because the system does not have to wait for maybe a certain number of students, 50 students, before you can make payment. No. Once you have the fund in your account, you can use your ATM and make your transaction and make your payment instantly. That is online payment. So data are processed directly as it enters into the computer system. What are the advantages of this online processing? One of it is faster processing. It is faster than batch processing. Why? Because it processes data immediately. Immediately. The moment you enter your name, the moment you select the institution, the moment you enter your remitter code, the moment you enter the description of your payment, it makes the payment instantly without waiting for. That's really. I'm having a class here. Using it. So as I was saying, as regards online processing, data are processed directly as it enters into the system. So the examples are as follows: online shopping, online registration, ATM transactions. So these are carried out immediately. And what are the advantages of these online processing? We talk about faster processing, immediate response, because immediately you make your payment, you get your receipt. So that shows that it processes data immediately. Now, what are the disadvantages of this online processing? Once there is network glitch, it may not be able to process it. That is why it requires internet or network connection. It requires internet or network connection, and also security concern, because usually there are some unauthorized people that try as much as possible to gain access to people's information and all of that. So these are some of the concerns. The next one is called real-time processing. When you talk about real-time processing, data are processed instantly without any significant delay. That is instant payment. Instant payment. Online payment can delay maybe for a minute or two before it will display that a payment has been received or payment is successful. You'll be seeing it based on the network, based on the signal strength, usually internet signal strength. You will see that it may take like 1 minute or 2 minutes. Then you get a notification that your payment has been received, or payment is successful, or transaction is successful. But when we talk about real time is instantly. Instant, the moment you press it, the moment you make, automatically it will be processing it. So data are processed instantly without any significant delay. For online payment, can delay for some seconds, like 60 seconds, 120 seconds, or thereabout. But real time is no delay at all. So what are the examples? We have the air traffic control system. It is real time. Hospital monitoring system, industrial control system. So these are the examples of various systems that use real-time processing. And what are the advantages of this real-time? We have what we call immediate results, and we also have high accuracy and reliability. But what are the disadvantages? It's expensive to set up because you need to deploy sophisticated technology to use such. And also it requires advanced technology. Like I said, it requires what? Advanced technology. We're talking about the methods of information processing. The first one is batch processing. The second one is online processing. The third one is real-time processing. And the fourth one is distributed processing. In this distributed processing, data are processed using multiple computers connected through a network. Multiple computers connected through a network. Different system from the word distributed. So in this case, we have what we call cloud computing, banking network, airline reservation systems. And what are the advantages? Faster processing, because it processes different things at the same time. It's multiple. We talk about multiple. That is a lot of things at the same time. It enables you to share various resources. That's one of the advantages. You can share across various media or across various platforms. And it is reliable. This distributed process is reliable. You can see the the diagram on the screen. There is a central system here. It is called server. Then you have a cloud. Then you have a system connected to it. So this server can share resources, can send files from one system to another instantly. So it's distributed processing. And what are the disadvantages of this distributed processing? One of it is that complex management. It is difficult to manage because there are a lot of things connected together. So people must be involved to manage the various components, to manage the various technologies deployed. And also network dependency. It requires network. So if there is a breakdown in network, then it's going to affect the system. That's why usually, First Bank, some of these commercial banks will send a mail to their customer that please, our server will be down for 24 hours. We'll be back so time, so day. So that shows that they have what we call distributed processing. So they are using what we call banking networks. So it's usually distributed. So once it affects one branch, it will affect the other branch. That is just the truth. So usually they will send it to all their customers, irrespective of their geographical location. So choosing the right processing method improves the efficiency, it reduces cost, and it also ensures timely information. So the right method, the right information, and the right decision has to be taken when it comes to the method of information processing. So basically, there are major 4 methods of information processing. The first one is batch processing. The second one is online processing. The third is real-time processing, followed by distributed processing. Now, let's look at the information processing operations. When we talk about the various information processing operations, we're talking about the activities performed on data to transform the data into meaningful information. What are the various activities? The first one is recording. The second one is classifying. The third one is sorting, followed by calculating. We have summarizing, and the last is reporting. And we talk about the recording aspect, which is the first step. It has to do with the capturing data and storing them for future use. You have your data, you keep it in a particular storage location for future use. That's the first step. Second step is grouping data into categories. That's what we call classifying. It's classifying. You arrange data. Take, for instance, you're talking about the result of student in physiotherapy department. You have 100 level results. You have 200 level results. You have 20. You put this together in a particular folder. That is classifying. You have result of student in student of dental technology, for instance, 100 level result, the 200 level result, and you keep it in a location. You have a radiography student result, the 100 level, the 200 level, you put it together. That's classifying. So that shows that grouping students according to various what? Department. Grouping according to various what? Department. Now, the third one is called sorting. Sorting has to do with the arranging data in a particular order. You can arrange data in alphabetical order or numeric order. So when you talk about arranging data, you talk about the alphabet from letter A to letter what? Z. So take for instance, usually in this kind of environment, the major number for identifying students is called the matriculation number, which is called the primary key because it's even more important than the names of students. Because it's possible to have two or more students that are bearing the same name. But what will differentiate the student is called the matriculation number. So the matriculation number must be sorted in a predefined order, in a numerical order. Take for instance, for us say /24/RAD/001. So definitely the next one will be /002/003 in that particular order. But in case you want it to be arranged in the names to be arranged to be sorted in alphabetical order, definitely you have to consider those names that start with what? A, followed by B, followed by C. So that is what we're talking about. We're talking about information processing operation. The first one is your recording. Capture your data, store them for future. The second one is classifying. Classifying simply means grouping data into categories based on similar characteristics. Grouping data into categories based on what? Similar characteristics. That is a classifying. The third one is called sorting. Sorting simply means arranging data in a particular order, either in alphabetical order or numerical order. The fourth one is called calculating. Calculating simply means performing arithmetic operations on data to generate results. For instance, you calculate the student average scores. You calculate the student cumulative grade point average. So that is what we call the calculation aspect of it. You must sort before you do the calculation. After the calculation, you talk about summarizing. Summarizing simply means reducing detailed data into a concise and meaningful form. Reducing detailed data into concise and what? And that's summarizing. Preparing a summary sheet or a report so that they will know how many students passed a particular course, computer, for instance, how many students passed chemistry, how many students passed biology. So it's a summary of everything. That is, you reduce the detailed data into a meaningful form. The last but not the least is called reporting. Reporting simply means presenting processed data into a clear and useful format for users. That is a report. That's generating examination report, a financial report, as the case may be. So these operations work together to ensure that raw data becomes accurate, organized, and useful. So when we talk about information, you put the effective operations, the accurate data together into what we call reliable information. The next slide, we're going to look at the roles of information processing in society. Roles of information processing in society. What are the roles? Information processing support different sectors of society, and it helps improve the efficiency, it helps improve the productivity, the decision making, and the quality of life. So the first one is decision making. It provides accurate and timely information that helps individual and organization to make informed decisions, because the output, the information produced, it helps organizations, management, to make decisions. The second one is that it enables fast and effective communication. It enables fast and effective communication through the emails, through the video calls, social media platforms, and so on and so forth. The third one is that it supports e-learning, digital resources, online research, and virtual classrooms like we have now. So that's one of the benefits of what information processing. And it is useful. We use it in patient records, diagnosis, telemedicine, hospital management. So I've talked about that in our last class. when you talk about the applications of computers in healthcare and medicine. And then it also supports online banking, like the ATM transaction, the fraud detection, to check the credit scoring and the financial reporting. And also it improves productivity through automation, inventory management, customer service, and data analytics. Similarly, it is used in record keeping, tax management, e-governance, public service delivery. That is in government administration. And the last but not the least, for scientific research, it helps in data collection to carry out analysis and simulation and discovery of new knowledge. That is, when we talk about information processing, we use it for what? Scientific research. It helps us to what? To collect our data, to carry out analysis. I'm sure some of you now, by the time you get to 300 level, you're talking about your projects. To do your project now, there's a stage that is called data collection. So this information will help you to carry out that. You collect your data. It will also help you to what? To analyze your data, and also to make your contribution to the knowledge. So that is all about the information processing. So information processing is the backbone of modern society, driving innovation, the economic growth, and improved living standards. So the next slide talks about the challenges of information processing. What are the various challenges? While information processing may offer many benefits, it also faces several challenges. One of the challenges is data security. In protecting data from unauthorized access, a lot of fraudsters here and there, hackers trying to gain access to people's data. So that's one of the challenges, data security is one of the challenges. The next one is privacy concerns. So collecting and storing personal data can lead to privacy breaches, and misuse of information. So when you collect personal data, like when we talk about personal data, the name of the person, the date of birth, the marital status, the health, the patient's health status, and so on. These are private information that we should be confidential. So there are a lot of privacy concerns that we hope it will not leak. Hope my information will not leak. So these are some of the concerns. These are some of the challenges of information processing. Another thing is that data accuracy. So incorrect, incomplete, or outdated data can lead to wrong results. When you enter a wrong data, it will produce a wrong result. When you enter the right data, it will produce the right result. So that shows you that in some cases, if incorrect or incomplete data, are entered into the system, absolutely is going to produce a wrong result. So that's one of the challenges of what? Information processing. The next one is high cost. That is implementing and maintaining information processing usually can be so expensive because there are a lot of equipment, there are a lot of gadgets that are required to set up such. So the next one is lack of skilled people, because to manage this architecture or these technologies for processing information, people must be trained on how to use the various devices or equipment. So shortage of trained and skilled professionals can limit the effective use of the information system. Another one is technology changes. Rapid changes in technology requires a continuous updates, adaptation, which can be challenging. Because I can remember some times ago, I think about a decade ago, the operating system that was in vogue that time was a Windows 7, Windows 8. For this day now, we have Windows 11. So some people, they are finding it difficult to adjust to the new environment, which is Windows 11 now, the latest Windows operating system. So rapid changes in technology requires what? Continuous updates and adaptation. People need to adjust. So these are some of the challenges. And you tell some people, please, I don't want Windows 7. I want Windows 11. But for the fact that Windows 11 is still new, they are still trying to adjust. They still prefer the older version. So these are some of the challenges. So if you ask them to process data, what they will use is the older system because they are used to the environment, which is Windows 7. Meanwhile, we're talking about Windows 11. And very soon now, another Windows operating system will come out. So these are some of the challenges. Adapting and adjusting, and also to update, it requires updating the knowledge as well. So this is the aspect of technology changes, which is a rapid changes in technology. It requires continuous updates, adaptation, which can be what challenging, because in information technology now, there's something we call you have to learn, you have to unlearn, and you have to relearn. There are some certain old archaic methods that are not in vogue. So you need to unlearn those things. And now we have the artificial intelligence, we have the cyber security, we have the machine learning, we have the Internet of Things, and many other things too. So these are the things that we need to learn. So you need to unlearn, relearn, and learn all these new things, all these things that are in vogue now. So this is the aspect of technology changes, which is affecting the information processing in some cases. So we also have the aspect of legal and ethical issues. Issues like data ownership, intellectual property, plagiarism, ethical use must be carefully managed. Because in some cases, people will just go and copy someone else's data and use it without acknowledging the original, without acknowledging the owner of the data. So these are some of the issues in information processing. Because if you are making use of someone else's data, you need to acknowledge the person that produces the primary data, because you, as the user now, becomes what we call a secondary user of the data, not the primary, because you are not the owner of data. So you must acknowledge the persons that produce the data or information, as the case may be. So these are some of the ethical issues. And usually there's something called plagiarism. Plagiarism means copying someone else's intellectual property, maybe someone's project, someone's research output. You just copy word for word. It's plagiarism. These are ethical issues that we face when it comes to information processing. And the last but not the least, it is called digital divide. Digital divide. When we talk about digital divide, we talk about the unequal access to technology and internet gap, which creates gap in opportunity and development. As I'm talking to you right now, there are some locations, there is no internet network there. And for you to reach out to people in such locations, it will be very difficult. It is digital divide. Some people have access to 5G network. Some people don't have access to 5G network. In fact, as I'm talking to you right now, in some locations, the maximum network they have in some locations is 3G network. It's still digital divide. And for you to process data in such environment, it becomes very difficult. So addressing these challenges requires strong policies. It requires secure systems, skilled people, ethical practices, and equal access to technology for all. Now, let's look at the various computer discipline and areas of specialization. Computer discipline and areas of specialization. The first one is a system analyst. Who is a system analyst? Is a person that analyzes business system, it designs computer-based solution, the person improves the organizational efficiency. As you can see, there's a system analyst trying to analyze a system. You can see the structure, the illustration on the screen, the chart there. So to analyze the system, you need to examine the system critically. You need to understand the processes that are involved and identify the key needs. Then you create an efficient system that solves the real problems and how it can be improved. You look at the productivity aspect of it, and also you recommend various solutions. You give advice. That is the work of a system analyst. A system analyst bridges business needs and technology solution. They analyze, they look at it, they understand the business very well. They design the solution and drives the efficiency. You can see a system analyst there on the system trying to come up with a step or a process that will be useful in terms of analyzing, in terms of building a system. You can see the first stage, business needs. You look at the process modeling, system design, implementation support. So this will guide the programmer or the technical or the professionals that will be involved in implementing the project. So the system analyst is the primary responsibility of the system analyst is what? To understand the nature of the business or the organization, then design the solution, the step by step on how to go about it, and give the recommendation. That's the responsibility of what? a system, and we're talking about computer discipline and various areas of specialization. One of the computer professionals is a system analyst. The next one is the computer programmer. Computer programmer. A computer programmer is a person that writes codes, innovates, and solves problems by writing computer codes, by writing computer programs. When we talk about computer program, we're talking about coding. Coding is the same thing as programming. Programming is an act of writing codes, it's an act of writing programs. And we have different languages. We will call that, we have what we call high-level languages, we have the low-level languages, and we have the machine language. The machine language is a computer understandable language, which are what? The zeros and what? And one. These are the computer understandable language. But we talk about the high-level language. These are the ones that programmers, they use to build software, to build systems, and so on and so forth. But for the computer to understand the high-level language, there is a program that interprets, that converts it to computer understandable language. That program is called what? Translator, language translator. And when we talk about a language translator, we talk about a compiler, we talk about an interpreter, we talk about what? An assembler. Both compiler and interpreter convert a language written in high-level language to machine language. But for the purpose of this class, we're just looking at the computer discipline and area of what? Specialization. The first one we talk about the system analyst. The second one we're talking about the what? A computer programmer. A computer programmer. And a computer programmer, they have different languages, high-level language they use. You can see Python, you can see Java, you can see C++, we have C#, JavaScript, and so on and so forth. So they write, what are their functions? We're talking about computer programmers. They write computer programs, they test and debug the software, and the other one maintains applications. The first one is they write computer program, that is, they develop efficient and reliable code to solve the problem and meet the user's requirements. The user's requirements. And we'll talk about the testing, after the implementation stage, we have what we call the system testing. They need to test it over and over again if the system is efficient and if it requires debugging. Debugging in programming simply means removing errors from the program. So the first thing is to identify the errors and fix the issues to ensure that the software works out correctly. And the last but not least, they maintain applications as they update and improve the existing software in order to ensure performance and reliability. Usually that is why for Android users, you will see updates. There are some applications to pop up on your phone that go to your Play Store and update your WhatsApp application. Go to your Play Store and update your Snapchat. So that shows that the programmers are improving on it. They are improving on the existing software. So that's the aspect of what? Maintenance. And in the course of improving on it, you see new features being added to the existing system. So programmers create software solutions using coding languages. They create software solutions using coding languages. What we speak is we speak natural languages like English, French, Spanish, and all of that. So meanwhile, the computer programmers, their language are what? High-level languages. High-level languages. Because these high-level languages are also synonymous to the natural languages. Because usually when you look at the codes, you see it in English language. You wonder, it's English, but there's some syntax added to it to differentiate it from natural languages. There are some syntax, there are some codes, commands added to it because they are usually in English languages, depending on the on the programmer. Because if you're talking about a programmer in France, for instance, definitely he's going to write his own in French. Because that means you must adopt a natural language while you had your, the syntax or the commands to your code. Like in Nigeria now, we speak English. English is a legal franca. So usually the programmers in Nigeria, they use English language. Then after that, they had these various jargons to it to make up their software. So the jargons we're talking about here are the codes, are the commands are the syntax that are added so that the program will produce the expected results. So programmers create software solutions using coding languages. We're talking about the area of specializations and the computer discipline. And another one is webmaster and web developer. I'm sure some of you will be wondering that which one is webmaster and web developer. They are not the same. Some people are webmasters, while some other people are what? Web developers. And you should know that when you're talking about a programmer, don't compare a programmer to just how will I put it now? When you talk about a programmer can build applications. But when you talk about a web developer can build a website. But when we talk about a webmaster can edit, can maintain a website. So a webmaster ensures websites are running smoothly and always what? Accessible. So what is the major role of a webmaster? To add, to edit, to update images, text on the website, to keep information correct on the website. They ensure that they monitor the threats, they update, and they protect the website and the user data. But when you talk about a web developer creates attractive and user-friendly layouts, engaging user experiences. They develop the website. In some cases, they call the web developers web designers. So these are the people that develop websites. They connect websites and applications to database for storing and managing data efficiently. That's why you see a website connected to the portal. On the portal, the student can go and make their payments and generate their course registration. So that is the portal. It's database because student information are stored where? In database. So you link the website to a database. That's the responsibility of a web developer. Why a webmaster can just update, maybe there are some news. Take for instance, they just concluded their matriculation ceremony. It's the responsibility of the webmaster to update it on the website. Put the pictures, put the news, there's campus gist, and so on and so forth. So web professionals create and manage modern websites. Let's go to the next one quickly. The next one is database administrator, popularly known as DBA. The acronym is what? DBA, database administrator. A database administrator organizes, protects, optimizes, and empowers data. What are the functions? As name implies, database administrator. A database administrator manages database. They create, configure, monitors, maintain database. And what is the meaning of database itself? Because I'm sure some of you wonder, which one is database again? Database is the collection of information. It's a collection of information. Like I talked about the students, we have 2,500 students, the names of students, their matriculation number, their contact address, their email address, their department, the faculty, the level of the students, the student cumulative grade point average, and so on and so forth. So all of these are stored in database. And the person that is in charge of managing database is called database administrator. Database administrator. We can see some of the software that we use in carrying out this. We have the Oracle, we have the SQL Server, we have the MySQL. So a DBA manages user account permission to ensure authorized access to data. A DBA also schedules and performs backups and restore data to prevent data loss and ensure business continuity, and also implement security measures to protect data from unauthorized access, breaches, and threats. So database administrators, they manage and secure organizational data. They secure organizational data. The next one is the network administrator. Who is the network administrator? You can see on the screen, troubleshooting the network there. With the laptop, you can see the network hub. So a network administrator is a person who sets up and configures routers, switches, cables, and other network equipment. The truth is that for us to have access to a network on campus, a network administrator must set up what we call routers, switches, and cables to gain access to the network, because currently, as you all know, that we have a what we call campus network. So for those of you that have paid the school fees, I want to assume you have access to campus network. If you don't have access to campus, see the director of ICT, person of my senior colleague, Mr. Victor, who will give you the login details so that you have access to campus network. So a network administrator is the person that will install these network devices, monitor the network performance, and troubleshoot network issues. They troubleshoot what? Network issues. And they also maintain network security. If you look at the network infrastructure, you will see that the internet, you have the firewall, you have the switch, the router, you have some other components as well connected together. And also you have a server. Controlling the whole activities. And then you also have the end users. And the end users are the people, that have access to the network. The end users, like you and I, we are end users. So network administrator is a professional who connects, manages, secures, and supports the network infrastructure. So a network administrator ensures smooth communication across a system. The next one is a computer engineer. Computer engineer is a person that designs, that builds computer system and also fix computer system. What are the functions of a computer engineer? One, a computer engineer designs computer hardware. When we talk about the hardware, you remember that my colleague taught you computer hardware. And computer hardware has to do with the physical part of the computer system that we can see and touch. What are these components like the keyboard? We have the motherboard, we have the mouse, we have the joystick, the light pen, we have the speaker, we have the printer, the plotter, we have the monitor, and so on and so forth. As you can see clearly, there is, we have a computer engineer fixing the motherboard. That is the motherboard. And specifically, I think if you look at it critically, you will notice that the computer engineer is trying to remove the processor from the motherboard. The processor is a miniature device fabricated on the motherboard. I told you, some times ago, that is just a small component, fabricated on the motherboard. And I said the processor is otherwise referred to as a central processing unit. The central processing unit. And this processor, in some devices, we call it microprocessor, and in smaller devices, we call it nano processor. Like mobile devices, for instance, what we have is a microprocessor. Big computer system, we call it processor. And some Internet of Things devices, like wearable devices, we call it nano processor because it is very small in terms of size. Nano processor. We have microprocessor, then we have the processor itself. Now, if you look at it very well, there is a picture here. That is an example of a processor where you have the hardware design. So the picture there is about a processor. That is a processor. And a processor is otherwise referred to as a central processing unit. A central processing unit is different from the system unit. The system unit is just the casing. And we have two major types of casing. We have the power system unit. We also have flat system unit. So it houses the various components like the motherboard, like the floppy disk or diskette, like the hard disk drive, like the power pack, and so on and so forth. We're talking about a computer engineer. I said a computer engineer designs computer hardware, maintains computer system, develops embedded systems, and also support robotic and automations. So computer engineers combine hardware and technology innovation. Quickly, because of our time, we're going to look at the next one, which is a cyber security expert. cybersecurity expert. A cybersecurity expert protects, detects, respond, and recover lost data or damaged data. What are the functions? A cybersecurity is an expert that protects computer system. They keep tracking, they keep checking to ensure there is safety, there is security measures to protect the computer system. They monitor and detect threats. That's why usually you receive mail from Gmail that this email has been compromised. Please use a stronger password. That's to tell you that there are some people monitoring the system, notifying you that the email, the password is weak, or someone is trying to gain access. Please change your password. So these are the responsibilities of our cybersecurity experts, to monitor the system regularly and to also what? To detect suspicious activities or potential security breaches. And they also respond to security incidents by investigating security incidents, by responding quickly to contain threats and minimize damages. And lastly, they also ensure recovery and resilience. They develop recovery plans and strengthen systems to ensure business continuity and so on and so forth. So cybersecurity experts, they protect today and secure tomorrow. So that is their major. So they are in charge of the network security, data protection, threat intelligence, risk management, and compliance. The next one is software engineer. I want to assume we're all aware that by September this year, this course, we're going to start this core program in our school, software engineering. Software engineering is one of the new courses that we have, software engineering. So let's look at their major roles or functions. The first one is that they design software solutions. Software solutions. And when we talk about software solutions, by analyzing requirements, the design efficient, the software system, and to meet users' needs. Like I said earlier, before a software engineer can design the software solution or can analyze the requirement, the system analyst must have provided various recommendations that will enable the software engineer to develop or to design the software solution. The system analyst is not a designer. It is not the person that will implement it, but will provide the recommendations, the step-by-step that will guide the software engineer. So that's why if you look at it now, the software engineer designs software solution. That's the major role. And develops and writes code. You can see that the work of the software engineer is synonymous to the what? Computer programmer. But in this case now, a software engineer basically they build software across various systems. Across various systems. Across various systems. You can see another role is testing and debugging software. It is the role of a software engineer to what? To test the applications, to identify the bugs. And when we talk about bugs in computer, we're talking about errors, all those mistakes. You fix all those issues to ensure quality. That's one of the roles of the software engineer. So the software engineer is more or less like a computer programmer. It's more their roles and responsibility, just like the computer program. But specifically these days now, in various IT establishment or universities, what we usually have is a software engineering, because anybody can tell you that I'm a programmer. Anybody can call himself a programmer as long as they can write one program or the other. But for you to be properly certified as a programmer, you study the course that is called software engineering. Software engineering. So some of the technologies and the tools they use, I've mentioned that earlier, like Python, the Java, C++, C#, and so on. And the frameworks that to do React, Angular, Django, Spring, and so on. And the databases they use also in MySQL, SQL Server. They also use a cloud and develop Azure, Microsoft Azure, and so on and so forth. So quickly, let's look at the next one. We're talking about the area of specialization and computer discipline. The next one is a data scientist and analyst. I put this together because they work hand in hand. Data scientists or and analyst. What are their roles? They gather data from various sources and what? They claim to ensure accuracy. They gather data. But if you look at the role of a data scientist studies data to know the deficiency, to know how this data can be improved upon. But data analysts, their role is just to analyze data, put the data together, process it, analyze it. That's all. But a data scientist will look at it. The source of the data, is it correct? We look at the data. Is this data clean? Is it data flawless before processing? So that's the work of the data scientists. So, and also what they do is that they also analyze and explore data, apply various statistical methods to analyze. That's the role of the data analyst. The data analyst also ensures visualization. Software like Power BI is used for data visualization, and for the analysis, software like eViews, SPSS, they are used for data analysis, and this is being carried out by a data analyst. But when we talk about a data scientist builds models and makes predictions using machine learning and statistical models to predict the outcomes and also to solve problems. So like I said earlier, what are various data sources? We talk about the databases, we talk about the API, the spreadsheet, the web data, and we talk about the analytical skills. That has to do with the statistics, data mining, machine learning, hypothesis testing. When we talk about the visualization of data, we have Power BI, Excel, and so on and so forth. And for the programming aspect, they use R, Python, SQL. And for the machine learning, regression, classification, clustering, and forecasting. Now, the next one is blockchain developers. We're talking about the computer discipline and various areas of specialization. We have blockchain developers. So these are people that build the future. They build one block at a time. A blockchain developer, they design, they build, test, and deploy decentralized applications and smart contracts that power, secure, transparent, and trustless systems. So what are the roles of these blockchain developers? They create decentralized solutions using blockchain technology. They work on smart contracts, by building a very strong system, and that revolutionize industries such as the finance, the healthcare, the supply chain, and so on and so forth. There is one application that is called Pi. And there are some other applications like that. They use blockchain technology, to develop such, and such applications are developed by blockchain developers. Some applications will ask you to mine every day. After some time, you make some money and all of that. So these are some of the blockchain innovations. And usually in some Asian countries, we have a lot of blockchain technologists or developers, even in Europe and all of that. So these are the people, they develop various, what they use is that they build system, they build a decentralized system so that, independently, each user can monitor, can engage with various models that has been deployed, that has been implemented in the course of developing such applications. So because you can add users, you can build a network such that people will register under it. So explain things like that. We're talking about a blockchain developer. Some of the popular tools that they use a VS Code, they use a Remix IDE, Guild, Solidity, and so on and so forth. And the blockchain, they work with there's a popular app. We have the Ethereum, we have the Solana, we have the Hyperledger, we have the Pi, we have the Binance Smart Chain, and so on and so forth. The career path, when you, as a blockchain developer, you have the junior blockchain developer. You improve to become a blockchain developer. After being a good blockchain developer, you develop yourself again. You have become a senior blockchain developer. Then you have what we call a blockchain architect, or a solution lead. So that is the career path in blockchain. So let's look at the next one, the AI experts. The AI expert build, train, and innovate a system. So the AI expert design intelligent system that solve real-world solutions and drive innovations. What are the functions of this? We have the design AI solutions, identify the problems, design AI model and system that provide efficient solution. Like people now use like ChatGPT, to develop for the purpose of collecting information to help people, get various information. So these are the work of artificial intelligence experts. They design artificial intelligence solution to identify problems, and also they design AI models that provide efficient solution, and also gather, cleanse, and prepare quality data to train accurate and reliable AI models. They also build and train AI models. They develop machine learning and deep learning models and train them for high or quality performance. They also test, evaluate, fine-tune models to improve accuracy. That's why usually, if you look at the what's it called, this AI, ChatGPT, for instance, if you have asked a question before, ChatGPT will remind you that this question has been asked. Are you referring to this? That shows that he's trying to improve on it. Do you want to add more information to it? You need to ask different kind of questions because it has stored the information. The information has been stored. So it keeps improving to enlarge the efficiency. So we're talking about the roles of artificial intelligence experts. An artificial intelligence expert deploys and monitors AI systems. It deploys AI solution in real-world applications. They also monitor performance for continuous improvement. Yes. So AI, thank you, man. Artificial intelligence and machine learning. We talk about the supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning, and neural networks, and so on. So AI experts turn ideas into intelligent solutions that shapes a better future. Let's look at the next one. We talk about the user interface and user experience designer. UI stands for user interface, while UX stands for user experience. So user interface and user experience designer. They understand the design, experience, and the like. So what are the functions? One, they understand user needs. They understand user needs. So they analyze the needs and define the code to create a better solution. Take, for instance, someone that maybe imagine a situation whereby someone owns a business and needs a website, and the person has an idea on how he or she wants the website to look like. So it is the responsibility of the user interface and user experience designer to come up with an interface that will enable the web developer, to design it based on the user's needs. Because we must develop software, we must develop a system based on users' requirements. So it's the user interface and user experience designer. They help in building, to understand the user needs better, because they come up with interface. They design intuitive interface. They create frames, prototype, and visual designs that are simple, attractive, and easy to understand. And they also improve usability as an overall experience to ensure user satisfaction and engagement. That's the work of the user interface and user experience designer. So user research, user interviews, to survey the personnel, and so on and so forth. User interface and user experience design, they design with empathy and creativity to make technology easy, useful, and enjoyable for everyone. So the next one is cloud computing engineer. So a cloud computing engineer design a cloud solution. These days now, most of our information are stored in the cloud, especially for Android users that you have a Gmail account. Once you save your contacts, usually save you save to your Gmail. So that shows that if you sign in or log in to your Gmail on any device, automatically the contact or your data will be restored because everything is synchronized where? In the cloud. Everything is stored in the cloud. So that is and that cloud, we call it a Google Workspace. Google Workspace. The Google Workspace consists of the Google Photos, consists of the Google Drive, consists of the Google Contacts, and so on and so forth. So all of these are synchronized together. So anywhere you log in on any device, automatically you want to, I thought this file, this picture is on my phone. Why is it showing here? It shows that you have signed in to another device. So it will restore all your files, all your contents, everything that you have in your what, once it has been synchronized to your mail. So everything will come up, everything will be restored. So that's why these days now, when you buy a new phone, once you sign into your Gmail, you'll be wanting your contact will be back. In fact, if you have backup everything on your or you know on your old phone, everything you are using on the old phone will appear in your new phone. That's to tell you that everything is stored in the cloud. Everything is stored where? In the cloud. As long as you have access to the what? To the internet. Access to the internet. So, based on this now, cloud is the most reliable storage location. Unlike a memory card now, in those days now, if you want to transfer your pictures, your music file, you must put your memory card from your old phone, we put it in your new phone before you can have access to some of your contents. But these days, once you have everything stored in the cloud, wherever you find yourself, you can always have access to your information as this. So it is the role of the cloud computing engineer to design a cloud solution and also to deploy and manage cloud services and also to ensure security and compliance and monitor and optimize the performance and support scalability and growth. You can see some of the popular cloud platforms. We have the Microsoft Azure, we have the AWS, that is owned by Amazon. We have assets from everywhere. That's your Google Workspace. You can see the logo there. We have the scalable on demand. We have the secure by design, and so on. There are so many. So cloud computing engineers, they build the function of the digital future that is scalable, secure, and always what? Available. You can see the picture of the cloud computing engineer there. The next one is Internet of Things, IoT, Internet of Things. These are usually embedded in various devices. Like when we talk about the smart homes, we talk about the smart devices, you have the IoT embedded. You have the IoT embedded. So it is the responsibility of the IoT specialist to connect device and system. They collect and transmit data. They process and analyze data, build smart solutions, and ensure security, reliability. So, like I said earlier, we were talking about the real-world applications where we have the IoT. We are talking about the smart homes. What do you mean by smart homes? There are some places you go to like this. Once you press the button, everything in the house will switch on. Once you talk like this, the TV switch on, the TV will be switched on. Say, please turn off the light automatically because it recognizes your voice. Because the IoT has been embedded in your house. So once you speak, the door will open. So that is smart home. Everything is being automated. Smart home. So in such apartments, such homes, what has been installed there is called Internet of Things. They connect devices, connect systems together. And who are the people that build such? Call them Internet of Things specialists. Internet of Things specialists. We have these Internet of Things in healthcare. We have in smart cities. We have it even in agriculture. I talked about precision farming sometimes ago. So we have smart devices. We have smart devices. We have all this Internet of Things embedded, even in transportation and environmental monitoring. So Internet of Things connects the physical world to the digital world by creating smarter and more efficient and more connected future. You can see IoT specialists there talking about the smart home, smart city, agriculture, connect devices, and can monitor everything on the system. So let's look at the next one, mobile app developer. You should know that as a mobile app developer, can create applications for mobile devices specifically. Mobile app developer. For you to become, you must be a programmer. You should know that. Under a programmer, we have a mobile application developer. Who is the mobile application developer? He is the person who creates applications for mobile devices running on various platforms, such as Android, iOS, and so on and so forth. The key responsibility of mobile application developers. They design and develop or build mobile applications for Android users, for iOS. They integrate APIs and third-party services, optimize for speed, scalability, and security, and so on. So what are the various essentials to do that, to become a mobile app developer? You must be able to use some programming language, develop some things like you talk about the Kotlin, we have Swift, we have that, we have Java. You must be able to write Java program. You must be a good programmer. A good programmer. And some of these languages that are required are Kotlin, we have the Swift, we have the Dart, we have the Java programming. Because a good Java programmer, you're able to develop mobile applications for devices such as Android. And also, you must have the you must be able to implement the interface developed by UI/UX designer. I said the UI/UX stands for user interface, user experience designer. You're able to implement it, and you're able to integrate API, and also be able to integrate database, and so on and so forth. And what are the career paths as follows? We have the junior developer, you become a mobile app developer, the senior developer, the tech lead, and then we have the engineering manager. What are the popular tools and technology? We have the Flutter, we have the Kotlin, I've mentioned the Android Studio. We have the Git, we have the Figma, we have the Firebase, and so on and so forth. And what are the various languages? Like I said earlier, we have Swift, we have that, we have JavaScript, we have Java, we have Kotlin, and so on and so forth. The next one is robotic engineer. We're talking about the various computer discipline and area of specialization. Robotic engineer. A robotic engineer applies mechanical, electrical, and computer engineering principle to design intelligent robots and automation system. What are the key roles or key responsibility of a robotic engineer? A robotic engineer develops and designs robotic system and components, programs robots, and develop control algorithm. You can see some of the tools they use. They use MATLAB, they use Gazebo, they use Python, they use Arduino, and so on and so forth. And the career path, we have the junior robotic engineer senior robotic team, we have the head of robotics, and so on and so forth. So quickly, because of our time, we'll look at this one, which is called the machine learning engineer. Machine learning engineers work at the intersection of data science, software engineering, and statistics to build intelligent system. So a machine learning engineer must be able to design, must be able to train and evaluate machine learning models. And what are the various tools and technology? We have Python, we have Jupyter, we have SQL, we have PyTorch, we have NumPy, Git, and so on and so forth. So these are technical aspects of it, but you should know that we have what we call a machine learning engineer. Then we also have computer, graphic, and multimedia designer. We have some people, what they are good at is when it comes to graphic design. They can, fine-tune pictures, they can design cartoons, they can come up all these cartoons that the kids, they love watching. There are some people that design it. They are called multimedia designers. So multimedia designers and computer graphic designers, they create engaging visual and interactive content for various media platforms. And recently now, we have AI multimedia designers, because it makes the work easier using AI now. Once you provide the prompts, it will generate the visuals and all of that. That is the aspect of AI. AI, it makes things easier compared to, building it from scratch and all of that using various software. So a multimedia designer, they combine creativity and technical skills to produce design because you have to conceive the idea. How do you build this one? How do you put it together? You look at the color combinations and so on and so forth. So what are the various tools they use? They use Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, they use Adobe InDesign, Adobe After Effects, Adobe Premiere Pro, CorelDRAW, Adobe Audition, Blender, and so on. These are some of the software they use for what? Computer graphic and multimedia designs. Let's look at the next one. We have the Geographic Information System. Geographic Information System. When we talk about the Geographic Information System, let's talk about location, geographic location. We can see on the screen showing the location of a particular place. Like some months ago, the Nigerian Army, they were finding it difficult to locate where all those bandits were, where they were operating from. So they had to deploy some system to monitor and to track their location. So that's what we call geographic information system. And this is being done by a specialist. A geographic information system specialist use geographic information system and related technologies to capture, to store, analyze, and display spatial data, and so on and so forth. And what are some of these tools? We have the ArcGIS, we have QGIS, we have the Google Earth Pro, we have the Python, Global Mapper, and so on and so forth. Then we also have the IT support specialists. We're talking about the computer discipline and some other areas of specialization and computer professionals. IT support specialist. Who is an IT support specialist? It's the first point of contact for users facing technical issues. If anybody is you need to meet an IT support. An IT support will tell you maybe to see a computer engineer or to see a software engineer or to see a graphic designer. Is the first point of what? Of contact for users. For users. For instance, as a student, maybe you need a technical support. The first person you meet is an IT support specialist. You advise you, you want to analyze your data. You need to see what? A data analyst. So the IT support specialist is the first contact or the first point of contact for user facing technical issues. And what are the key roles or responsibility of an IT support specialist? He responds to users' inquiries through email, phone calls, or in person. It can be able to troubleshoot hardware, software to some extent. And if you could not do it, we would want to recommend. Please, we need to invite a network technician or invite network administrator to troubleshoot the system. So what choose and technologies that IT support specialists, what I choose they use a soft operating system such as Windows. They use software such as Microsoft 365, TeamView. They use software like Cisco. They use software such as ServiceNow, Pointer, antivirus tools, and so on and so forth. Then we also have game developer. Some people, they are interested in games and all of that. So game developer, they are also programmers. But specifically what they do is to develop games. So game developer work on all stages of games development, from concept and design to programming, testing, and release. And what are some of the tools they use? They use tools such as Blender, Maya, Photoshop, Audacity. They use Unity. They use Git, and so on and so forth. These are some of the software that they use. Then we also have data entry operator. Data entry operator. A data entry operator is responsible for entering, updating, and maintaining data in computer system and database accurately. As you can see, this lady now entry data into the computer system. So what are the software that they use? Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Access, Google Sheets, and so on and so forth. Then we also have bioinformatics specialists. Bioinformatics specialists. From the word bioinformatics, that is biology and information. So in this case now, it bridges biology, computer science, and data for better health. A bioinformatics specialist analyzes and interprets biological data using computational tools to support research, diagnosis, drug discovery, and personalized medicine. And what are the key responsibilities? They retrieve and organize, and they also manage biological data. They analyze the DNA, the RNA, and so on and so forth. What are some of the tools they use? They use Python, they use BioPython, they use Blast, they use GenBank, and so on and so forth. Now let's look at the summary from this topic. You should know that computing is everywhere. It offers many exciting career paths that solve problems, create solutions, and improve lives. So the key takeaways are as follows. Computing drives innovation and transforms the world. Many career opportunities exist in computing. In fact, in computing now is the most lucrative profession in the world due to the innovations, due to the adoption of technology in various sectors. The areas of computing, like I said, we have the cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, software engineering, and so on, Internet of Things, and so on and so forth. So the skills, what are the skills that matter? What are the skills that matter? One is programming. You must have programming skills, you must have data management skills, creativity skills, problem solving, communication skills, and lifelong learning. Keep learning, because there are a lot of things that are changing, and ethics and responsibility. So the future belongs to those who code, create, collaborate, keep learning, keep building, and keep what? Making a difference. Now, your assignment, this is your assignment, so please take notes. The first thing is identify one software or application used in your profession or field. Identify one software or application used in your profession or field. Second question, state the purpose of the software or the application. Then state the benefits of the software in your profession or field. What are the benefits? And also attach the screenshot of the software application, just a picture. You can download it from internet, attach it. If you can design it and attach as a form of what? A picture. Attach it and paste it to your assignment. Then the assignment must not exceed 2 pages. It must not exceed 2 pages. And it should be either in a Microsoft or PDF, but I would prefer PDF, please. Let it be in PDF so that I can easily download and give you a score. It should be in PDF. You are expected to send the assignment, the soft copy. Please don't print it out. You are not expected to print this assignment out. You can use your phone. Do it on your phone and send it to the email on the screen. myfuasecomputer@gmail.com. 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 I said the file formats, please let it be in PDF. PDF. And please make sure you type your name correctly, your matriculation number. If you don't have matriculation number, make sure you type your name. Make sure you type your name, your matric number, your department, your faculty. And this assignment must be submitted on or before the 30th of this month, on or before the 30th of May 2026. Please don't print it out. Submit the soft copy. What do I mean by the soft copy? Once you have done the assignment, send it to the email address. Don't come to the ICT for submission. Why I gave this assignment is that I taught you email some weeks ago. So one of the objectives is at the end of the course that you should be able to send a mail. You should be able to attach a file. So these are the reasons. And also, if you look at the question, is relevant to your field. So you should be able to identify one software or application that the people use in your field or profession. Identify when you mention that particular software. that is relevant to your field. Mention that software. That's question 1. But before you mention it, make sure you type your name, make sure you type your matriculation number, make sure you type your department and faculty. Then you state the software or application that is used in your field or profession. Then 2, the purpose of the software. What are they using it for? You state it, used for so thing. Then the benefits of the software, it could be just one benefit, 2 benefits or more. You state the benefits. Then you attach the picture. You can download it from internet. If you can use CorelDRAW, if you can use Photoshop, any application of your choice, if you want to draw it, you can draw it and attach it, put it in your assignment. Make sure you put the picture. I want to see the picture. So the first thing is to mention the software, state the purpose, the benefit, and also put the picture. It must not exceed 2 pages. So that means that even if it's just a page, I'm okay with it, but it must not go beyond 2 pages. And make sure you type your full name, your matric number, and your department. The email address again is myfuasecomputer@gmail.com. This assignment must be submitted on or before the 30th of May 2026. On this note, we have come to the end of today's class. And then today, I think we are starting your exam in 2 weeks' time. So today might be the last class. So on this note, I want to wish you success in your forthcoming examination. If you have any questions, any contribution, any clarification, please use the comment section now. I will go to the comment section now and check, please. Please go to the comment section and put your question there. I'm going to check now so that I can address those questions before we call it a day. Yes, somebody asked a question. Please give us material to read. Yes, I'm going to give you this PowerPoint slide, and the previous PowerPoint slide that I prepared to, I will also send to you. I can assure you that I will give you the PowerPoint so I can go through the PowerPoint. For some of you that have not been following up with the lectures, you can go through the PowerPoint slide. To be submitted on or before the 30th, the assignment should be submitted on or before the 30th of this month. Please make sure you submit on or before the 30th of this month. Make sure you submit the assignment. The question is, identify one software application used in your profession or field. State the purpose of the software, the benefit of the software in your field, the benefit of the software in your field. Then you attach the screenshot, the picture of your software. Put the picture. And I said the assignment must not exceed 2 pages. So make sure you type your name, your matric number, your department, and your faculty. So like I said earlier, the assignment must be submitted on or before the 30th of May 2026. 30. Today's date is what? Today is 15, so you have 15 days. 30 of this month. On or before 30 of this month is the deadline. So it should be submitted on or before. But I will advise you to submit it on time so that I can compute your CA. So the earlier the better. Do your best and submit on time. So do your best and submit. Please, another thing is that don't copy someone else's work. Once I notice that both of you will score 0, do it yourself. Do it yourself. This assignment, you can use your phone to do that. All you need is your WPS. Once you have your WPS, open your Microsoft Word. You will see Word there. So open the document, then type it there, insert the picture. And if you cannot put the picture directly, you can attach it as a separate file while submitting your assignment. To submit the assignment, you open your email, you click on compose email, then you type in this email, myfoasecomputer@gmail.com as the receiver's mail. Automatically your email will appear as the sender's email. Then you put the subject assignment submission. You can type your name or your matric number there. Then you attach your assignment as a document. Attach your assignment. Then if you are unable to import the picture or the screenshot directly, then you can attach it separately. You can attach it separately. I will accept it. So please make sure you submit the assignment on or before the 38th of this month. On or before the 38th of this month. Please, if you have any question, please feel free to ask me now. Can you write the assignment on a full scale paper? No, please don't write the assignment on a full scale. Don't ask me. No, please don't write it. I will not collect it from you. What I ask you to do is a soft copy. There's a difference between soft copy and hard copy. Do it on your phone and send it. If you have a laptop, do it and send it to my email. I don't need the hard copy. Yes, somebody asked a question that the screenshot, can we put it on the second page? Yes, you can put the picture, the screenshot or the picture of the software application on the second page. That's okay, but it must not go beyond 2 pages. It must not go beyond 2 pages. Okay, yes, somebody asked another question. Hello, can you hear me? I hope you can hear me clearly. I hope you can hear me clearly. Okay. So, let me go back to the comment section and check if there are some other questions I need to address. Okay, somebody asked a question, sir. You didn't explain the blockchain developer and the machine learning engineer. Okay, let's go back to the slide. Yes. Now, like I said, when you talk about the blockchain's developer, what are we talking about? The blockchain developer creates a kind of a decentralized system. That is the system that can be that the systems that works independently, irrespective of the users. Like you can monitor it the way you want it to be done. It's being decentralized. It's not a kind of system that is one person that is in charge of everything. It shows that the system can be manipulated, can be upgraded, can be improved on by individual based on your programming skills. Because when you talk about the blockchain technology, it requires technical skills like programming skills to come up with such a software. And this decentralized solution, they use blockchain technology. They work on smart contracts, the apps and blockchain network that revolutionize industries such as finances, healthcare, supply chain, voting, gaming, and more. So they use various applications. They look at it and kind of synchronize the various data that can help in building a decentralized system to gain advantage, to maximize it. Like I gave an example of a Pi. Pi is a blockchain technology. It's a software developed by an Asian programmer. So on Pi application, if you look at the Pi application, you have to keep mining regularly. And for you to mine, your device must be connected to the internet. It consumes your data. As a result of that, you'll be getting some Pi, and this Pi can be converted to the currency that we use. And it can also be converted to all this cryptocurrency like Ethereum and so on and so forth. So what blockchain developer, what they do is that they develop smart contracts. They build and maintain decentralized applications. They integrate blockchain solutions. If you look at it, the blockchain applications, it has a front end and it has a back end. The front end, that is what the user they will see. They will check each day, how much do I have? That is the front end. But for the back end, that is where the programmer keeps track of all the information, all the activities. So, and this has to be tested and be debugged regularly. So it shows that to develop blockchain technology, the person must be a good programmer, because the application must be tested regularly. It must be improved upon because there are some features that must be efficient. Once you notice it, you look at it. You need to look at how you can incorporate many features into it. And you need to deploy and manage blockchain networks. And also, you need to ensure security because people will enter their data, their name, their phone number, their email address. These are personal data and must be secured. So it is the responsibility of the blockchain developer to ensure that the people's or the users' data are protected. And what are the benefits of this role of blockchain developer? One is that you'll be there's what we call high demand and excellent career opportunities. Because, like I said earlier, as a blockchain developer, you'll be a good programmer, a professional programmer, and you work on impactful real world solutions, and also be part of a fast growing and innovative industry. And what are the essential skills required for you to be a blockchain designer or a blockchain developer? One of it is that you must know how to use some of these programming languages very well. Like I mentioned, I said Java. He was able to use Java. He was able to use JavaScript. He was able to use Solidity, Rust, Viper. He was able to use there are some blockchain architecture software too. And we also have cryptography basics. These are some of the basic skills you must have to become a great blockchain developer. And what are the tools once again? I've mentioned Solidity. We have Remix IDE, that's integrated development experts. We have the Git, we have the Visual VS Code, we have the Tonfu, we have the blockchain they work with the Ethereum, so that you can transfer your funds from your blockchain app to a crypto account. So from the crypto account now, you can move it to your local account. So you can see that the systems works in a systematic form. It is it's an integrated system. Blockchain systems and integrated because there are a lot of components that you need to put together to ensure they work together, because like once you develop the software, it must be developed such a way that uh, all these crypto accounts can be integrated into the platform. And I said the basic skills required to be a good blockchain developer is that you must be very sound in programming. You must be very sound in programming, and you must have problem solving skills. That how am I going to develop this, come up with this? You look at it that in healthcare industry, in various industries like in banking, how can I put up these things so that we can make money and all of that? So the blockchain expert must have problem solving skills. You must have problem solving skills to be able to build a blockchain technology or applications that people can use, to make money and and all of that. But when we talk about a machine learning engineer, you know, artificial intelligence has to do with machine learning because it learns based on the experience. It learns based on observation. So machine learning engineers, they work at the intersection of data science, software engineering, and statistics because they have to analyze the system based on the data that's been collected. They collect and process data. They train models. They evaluate performance. So these are the responsibility of the what? Machine learning engineers. These are the people that they understand how artificial intelligence, how it works. They understand various programming languages because this is what will assist them in carrying out their duty. And one of it is Python programming. I was very good at Python programming and was able to use various statistical tools and some other database and management software like SQL Server, and so on and so forth. So deep learning is an area that helps to build a robust artificial intelligence because it has to do with machine learning has to do with the deep learning. It has to do with the algorithm, having what we call machine learning algorithm. An algorithm is a step-by-step procedure. So this will help in managing and building a robust artificial intelligence software. And what are the tools and technologies that we use when it comes to machine learning? I mentioned Python, I mentioned Jupyter, I mentioned SQL. SQL is for management of data management. And I also mentioned Git, I mentioned Docker, and so on and so forth. There are so many software like that. I hope it is clear now. Please, if you have any other question, kindly ask. Yes, I will give you the PDF. Somebody asked a question. I will give you the PDF for this and the previous lecture. Sir, is your exam hard? No. The exam is going to be computer-based, and I can assure you that it's based on what you have been taught. It's analyzed. When is revision? Perhaps maybe next week, if there is need for revision, your general class representative should let us know. Maybe next week, Friday, on a day like this, we'll meet again for revision class. Otherwise, if there is no need, that means we'll meet in the examination hall. Yes, are you giving us materials to read? When we have here, yes, yes, I will give you this material so please, your class rep should reach out to me before the end of today so that I can release the course material. I'm talking about these slides and also the other slide for the application of computer and the internet. Tracks, apps, and blockchain and so on that revolutionize industries such as financing, healthcare, supply chain, boxing, and more. So this is it. The instruction is that identify one software or application used in your profession. Any software that is used in your profession, state the purpose of the software and the benefits of the software in your field or profession. Then screenshot the software or the application and send to this email. The email address is myfuasecomputer@gmail.com. myfuasecomputer@gmail.com. You remember some weeks ago, I taught you about email. So you should be able to send an email, you're able to attach a file. So all you need to do is to open your email, go to compose, then enter the email address, attach your file, and press send. That is all you need to do. And please make sure it's in PDF file. You can use your phone, just install WPS application if you don't have WPS, or your Microsoft Word, as the case may be. Then you type in the software that you use in your profession or your field, the purpose of the software, the benefit of the software, and the screenshot, the picture of that software. Make sure you do it and send it. It must not exceed 2 pages. It must not exceed 2 pages. If it's just a page, that is fine. But don't forget to type your full name, your matric number, your department, and your faculty. And this should be submitted on or before the 38th of May 2026. 38th of May 2026. Address. Should have been trained in. Should have address.
In classroom. Let me do it in the class.
If I'm okay.
Let me do it in class. Okay, the check question. Giving the exam question. Let me
Okay.
tell them anything.
There's often one phone PDF slide. There's a phone. Yeah, probably I'm phone.
Why you can't give me?
Area of concentration. Important to come when somebody that comes.
Area of concentration. Is it area of concentration or area of confusion? There is nothing like area of concentration. You have been taught. For those of there's nothing like area of concentration. You have been taught. You can go back and have a replay. Concentration. You have been taught. There's nothing like area of concentration.
Yes, and that question.
What
What of people
you can go back and
What
have
of people who do not have phone? Software to I don't know if we can soft copy.
an assignment.
Yeah.
You are given an assignment, you are asking for the tools to use. You are given an assignment. You are given an assignment. You can send an email. This assignment will just is just for you to practice what you have been taught. To practice what you have been taught. Because it's better you do it. Hands-on. It's part of hands-on. Part of hands-on. Practicing what you have been taught. It will even help you during when you come for exam because you have to type in your reg number, type in password, and also it will make you get familiarized with maybe keyboard and every other thing. For those of us that have not been using it, and I kept telling you guys that using phone and laptop or system is quite different.
Be the last class.
In absence of any question, this is our last class for the semester because you have next week for you to read and do revision. If you have any question, you can still direct it to us at the unit level. You have the email, you can still send it to the email. If you have some other question, you can meet us. You already know us one-on-one. So you are free to ask questions at any point in time. Free. You know where to meet us, the ICT. You are free to meet us. One-on-one class. You are free to ask questions at any point in time. You know where to meet us, the ICT. You are free to meet us. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you and thank you. And to the class rep, thank you for coordinating the class. All the class rep. Thank you.